What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by Autobahn. My name is Max, and today we are checking out the all-new BMW i7 M70. This is the Big Daddy, the most powerful 7 Series available right now, and it is electric, of course. i7 always is, and we've driven one before, and we were not really super impressed by it. I'm not a big fan of the styling of this generation 7 Series. I think, yeah, it's just not for me. That happens sometimes, but I am very curious to see what they've done with this, because this is like an M performance version of the i7, and well, I can already tell you I like it a lot better, mainly because it drives a lot better. So let's do a lap around the car. The M70 gets more aggressive front bumpers, so that is how you can recognize it. You get the iconic glow grille as standard, which is this illuminated grille, which I'm just, yeah, just no for me. I think it's a bit obnoxious, really. I think there's a lot going on at the front already, so yeah, it's a bit too much for me. I do quite like these top headlights. I think if you drive around with your daytime running lights turned on like that, I quite like that. I quite like that big front, narrow, aggressive lights design. I think it's a bit too much going on with the second light and then the bumper, but I do like that top one. I think it's pretty cool. I also like the fact that this thing looks absolutely insane when you're in traffic. It like glides through traffic. It's massive, it's high. Look at how high that bonnet is. The roof is high, everything is super high. And then in this sapphire black Mafia spec, I also quite like that. I think it works in dark colors a lot better than in light colors. And I do like the sinister look of it. It looks like a mobster's 7 Series, and I think that's pretty cool. So, wheels, tires, these are the standard 21-inch wheels you get. So this is an M performance wheel, but is aerodynamically optimized, of course. Behind that, M performance brakes or M sport brakes. Not even perforated discs for this 2700 kilo car. 2700 kilos, which is just, that is nuts, really insane. But of course you use a lot of regeneration, so you don't use those brakes too often, really. We've got air suspension as well. This car, the M70, also gets the, let me think, executive professional drive, something like that, which means you get active anti-roll stabilization, and you also get roll comfort or something like that. You also get 4-wheel steering on this car, which is great because it is absolutely massive. And then this particular car, how does that work? Click that one. It should be able to open automatically, right? Anyway, let's get in. So the rear seat, of course, is also very luxurious. There we go. So when you sit here, this is of course the place to be. We can open everything up. Open. And of course we can get the theater display. So you have to make sure that the screen will clear the seats. There we go. So the blinds go down, and then you have this crazy theater display, which means that you have like a, oh, you can actually also, that is, you can adjust it even. That is pretty sick. I absolutely love this. I almost hit in the head by the screen. Ah, you can do it front to back, and you can swing it around. So you can also do that or that. Yeah, this is pretty freaking insane, right? I said this is when you start understanding this car, because it's always long wheelbase. It is super spacious, super comfy. You have these nice thick plushy floor mats, and then you can watch Netflix or YouTube or whatever on the big screen, which is pretty damn insane. It really is. It also has a crazy Bowers & Wilkins audio system. I just watched a YouTube video of someone playing a Moog synthesizer, and it was just insane. It's like a really big big sound system. It's really suitable for like watching movies and stuff like that. So yeah, that is a good job. The rear of the car also absolutely massive. It's very high. We've got an M70 badge right there, indicating that you've got the most powerful version. And then let's take a look. I still always want to take a look under the bonnet, but I think there's nothing there. You don't get a frunk in these cars. No, just a big plastic thing. And there's an electric motor at the front, one at the rear, so you have X-Drive with a, wow, what a beautiful day, right? So lovely. It's really cold today. We had some snow last week. Horsey McHorseface is inside, I think. It's a bit too cold for Horsey McHorseface, but yeah, anyway, there we are. 660 horsepower and 1015 newton meters of torque. And if you use launch control or pull the boost pedal on the steering wheel, you have the maximum available 1100 newton meters of torque. So that is quite insane. As I said, you have four-wheel steering. The dampers are specific to the M70 as well. And they also tweaked the air suspension. You have that roll stabilization, the anti-roll stabilization, I should say. And when you hit the brake, the door closes, which is very nice. I actually quite like that. I've gotten used to that quite a bit in the last week, which is, I'm a bit ashamed to say that, but I did. I do quite like some stuff. It's the second time I'm driving it, also for a week now, so I get to experience a bit more like daily usability and driving around, and I quite like it. I think it's a very imposing and intimidating car to look at. You can see that people they're drawn to it, they look at it, they point at it, kids look at it, they're like, what the hell is that? And they think they're about to get whacked, probably. You have this, look at how small that windscreen is for such a big high car. That's what I like. You sit in this cocoon of super soft leather and you have these seats. These are quite amazing as well, if you know how to use them, because that's also something you do really need to get used to this system and know where everything is. And there's a lot more you can do with this than you think, so you have to check that. Anyway, let's go for a drive. We've got 68% battery. Let's talk a bit about the electric part of it quickly, because I don't want to get too negative again. But 560 kilometers WLTP claimed range, 560. But when I charge it up to 100%, it says, I don't know, 380, 382. There is a driving mode, which is called efficient. So if we hit that, you can see the range, which is down there, going from 225 to 242. And then we can hit maximum range mode, which completely deactivates the climate control and the heated seats and stuff like that. And it just went to 372. So 250 kilometers of range you gain by doing this. So I think you should always use this driving mode, because this is acceptable. 67%, and you have 370 kilometers left. The only problem is that you've got 50% power. I mean, it's limited, 50% right there, and you can only drive 90 kilometers an hour. So, or you can, not only, but it's limited at 90 kilometers an hour. So this is full throttle, and then it deactivates range mode. So can I go full throttle without deactivating it? No. Okay, so there is very little power. It's less than 50%. So that is yeah kind of stupid, right? So I don't know. Sport mode. Whoop. Oh, it is quick. It is pretty quick. As I said, you've got 660 horsepower and 1100 newton meters of torque, which is quite incredible. It's not as much as a Plaid, of course, but who cares? 3.7 seconds 0 to 100, which is quite incredible, because as I said, it weighs 2.7 tons. So 3.7 is yeah, that's pretty impressive. But the thing I like most about this, especially compared to that i7 we drove, the regular version, I can't remember which version that was. I think the 60, the i7 60 or 50. I think it's 60. Launch control. There we go. That's 0 to 100. This car feels much better driving wise. It feels more tied down. It's a little bit firmer. You have more control. It's less floaty. It's less wobbly, especially in sport mode. Yeah, I really like it. The drivability of it is much better this way. And you don't really feel that weight, which is just absolutely incredible to me. I don't understand how this works. You just turn it in and it just goes. When you brake, that's when you feel the weight like coming behind you, but it's quite impressive, this car. It really is. If you forget the way it looks and forget what it stands for, basically, yeah, it's quite an impressive car to drive. Do have the fake sound, of course. I think we can turn that off. Sport mode. Boom. Driving dynamics. Sport plus. So yeah, I like this better. I'm not sure that's enough to pay the extra money you need for this car, because, you know, it's the M70, it's the most expensive one. It doesn't have the biggest range of them all. But I do feel like I'm enjoying driving this car a little bit more than I was last time round. And I think that's also worth something. Mind you, if you drive it like this, the range does go down very quickly. So it's at 215. So it's at 215 now. GoPro just fell off. I'm not sure it will stick, but oh, we should use, well, let's go. I have to do so many different things in this car. It's incredible. No, whatever. We do have to pull the pedal. So boost mode, 10 seconds. There we go. 1100 Newton meters. No, not really. This doesn't feel really like 1100. It doesn't feel that fast. It's not very fast, 100 to 200, as you can see in the list. It's not really performing like 660 horsepower, 1100 Newton meters should. But yeah, I don't really know why. Last time with the i5 M60 was the same thing. It just limits power sometimes. Top speed is 250 kilometers an hour. Yep. So let's try and get there. Well, it's pretty busy. It's 4 p.m. So we've got, I think, 101 kilowatt hour battery pack, and then those two electric motors, front and rear, charging it up. 10 minutes, 170 kilometers, so it should be like 195 kilowatts of charging and charging speed. So you can go to a high performance charger and you should be able to charge it up. As I've explained in my i5 M60 review, it doesn't really work that way with BMW. I have to say that everything has to be perfect for these cars to do what BMW says. So they might be able to do it, but everything needs to be perfect, which is kind of annoying. I think that goes for most electric cars actually. Yeah, it's just something you have to take into consideration, I think. So what's the deal with this car? Why do I actually do quite like it the second time around? Well, I think you also need to place the car. Like, you need to try to understand why this car is the way it is and why BMW decided that this is the way it was going to be. And even though I don't really agree with a lot of things that BMW is doing right now, I do think that electric drivetrains and luxury cars work really well. Electric drivetrains and performance cars don't match, but for luxury cars it's actually very nice because it's very quiet. There's a serenity to it when you drive around in this thing. You don't hear anything from the outside world. You've got an amazing sound system, comfortable seats. That's 250. So when you glide around in silence through the city in this car, it actually kind of works for me. I think that's when I think it makes sense. It doesn't make sense on the Autobahn. This is horrible. What we do is horrible for electric cars, but when you drive around, it just kind of works. And the obnoxious and in your face design on the outside, yeah, it's just something you have to get used to. I think BMW are struggling to sell these things. I think Mercedes are having an absolute day in the park because S-classes are going left and right. People are just buying S-classes now because they don't want to drive around in this, which, yeah, it's a very divisive car. I think it's polarizing, but driving it, quite like it. Much better than the regular i7. This M Performance actually adds something to it because it handles much better and it's still super comfortable. And it is the big daddy, and I think that for a lot of people that's also going to be enough because they just want the fastest, most powerful version. So there goes the speedo again. We're done with that one. i7 M70. Pull the pedal once more for boost mode. 10 seconds. No way. It's already limiting power. It really is. Where is that thing? I need to get that. So this is the performance meter. 586. Torque, let's check that as well. So we'll pull the pedal and then we have 10 seconds. So pedal. Yeah, 6.8. Torque was like 400, I think. So yeah, again, performance cars and electricity don't really match. It just doesn't work. Also, I just feel horrible about the fact that every time I hit the throttle, I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to pay for that later at the charger because I'm going to be there for like 5 minutes longer. It just doesn't work. Luxury cars and electricity, yes, it does, because you drive it in a different way. It is like nice and quiet. So this is definitely the i7 to have, if you ask me. It drives really nice, it's comfortable. In a dark color, it also looks kind of badass. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to end it here because we're back in the Netherlands, so fun is over. And I hope to see you at the next one. You can subscribe by clicking the big button in the middle. Check out this video on the right or this playlist. Bye guys.